Hi guys, Tammy here from Formflex Compound, and I'm coming on finally to show you how I made this right here with the IOD mold, the snow globe mold. Hopefully you can see that. I know that it's probably a little dark. It's hard to see inside. But I had a lot of questions about this, and I was going to do a live, and then I ran out of time or do a pre-recorded video on how I made it. And when I ran out of time, I didn't do it. So I thought, well, this is a good time to do it. But you can see, I know it doesn't show real well on camera. It's kind of hard to see. But I do have a little light that you can put in there to light up. And I'm going to show you what the process is to do that. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to start here. The first thing that you need to do is just, if you don't have a snow globe mold, you could use a frame. You could use, some of the other molds I'll show you in a minute that you might be able to use. First of all, you just want to take out some Formflex and warm it up in your hands if you've had it in the refrigerator. And you always want to be sure that you use it in a snake-like position so that you can do it all at once. And it's so easy. If you have bad hands or arthritis, Formflex is really easy to work with if you're new to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this snow globe mold, and you can see how I'm just going around the outer edge of it, and I'm going to keep that nice and pushed up to right where that circle is. And I'm going to just keep rotating my mold. That's the one thing when you're doing castings, let your mold work for you. Don't work against it. Just rotate your mold as you go. And it makes it really, really easy. So that's all I'm doing here. I'm just filling in. I want to show you what part I'm using here. You want to make sure your bottom's nice and full down there. You can do a little bit of a concave kind of around here if you want, and only because you're going to be using an empty roll of tape. That's what I made that out of. Okay, so you've got that nice and full. I might put a little bit. I might have not put enough right in here because I want this to be plenty sturdy right down here at the bottom. So you don't want it super, super thin. But I'm going to just take my finger and keep on working that till I know I'm right there on the edge of where you would either, cast the whole thing, or you would put resin in it or whatever. These, however you want to do it. But because I'm going to use the Formflex and I want this open to be able to see into it, then I'm going to just take my card, push my Formflex in there, make sure that I have that all nice and smooth around there. That's the main thing about this. It's a pretty small area here that you have. You can see it right there on that. See how small of an area that is. So this is what you want your casting to look like when you're done, like that. This one has a crackle type paint on it. But that's all you want to do. And just smooth it out. And then I take my palette knife. If you don't have a palette knife, you can use your card. And I just go ahead and clean up those edges and then stick it in the freezer, okay? Now there's another part to this that you can do, and it's really not necessary, but you can do it. And it does kind of, I did it on some, I didn't do it on others. It just depends, and I'm going to show you here in a minute what you can do. But you want to keep this all nice and smooth here, okay? And now what you can do if you want, and it's not really going to make that big of a difference, but it does kind of give you a place to put your tape thing, your roll of tape. Okay, so you're going to cast one full one, okay, with everything. And I'm just going to show you the partial casting here because that's all. I only have one mold. But you can take your tape ring and put your tape ring and kind of push into it. But you also have to remember, in order to get this to stand up the way it stands up, I put Jenga blocks down here on the bottom. So you want to be sure that when you put this on here, that you leave plenty of room down here to put a Jenga block. So I would go like that much. Just make sure that you have enough area to do a Jenga block, okay? So I'm just gonna, you can push it in. And like I said, I did not do this on a lot of them. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll try it on some of them. And so now I've got my ring in there, okay? And then I'm just gonna go ahead and stick this in the freezer. So the next thing would be is to go, you'd have a front and a back, okay? And what you wanna do is you want to take your back here and kind of lay those on there. You don't have a whole lot to work with, okay? Because like you can see on this one right here's where my trim's going to go. So you have some trim and it's just going to come right up to there, okay? It's just going to come right there. But what you want to do is you want to take your tape roll. You can use it thick, you can use a thin one, like here's some other options, okay? You could use a thin roll like this if you don't want to put a tree and all that in it. You could use one of these canning jar lid. I think this would fit on here. Yeah, you could use this. Maybe, do it that way. These are some of the options if you don't have this mold. This is a redesign mold. This would be really cute. What a cute, put stuff around here and then put something in it. Do a decoupage paper, put a hanger on it. And that's made with using a canning jar, okay? Don't throw out any of your empty ribbon rolls. You could do the same thing with this one. You could use a canning jar. This is the one that I showed with the globe in it the other day. And you could do the same with this. You could use a narrow one. You could use a wide one. So if you don't have this particular mold, it doesn't mean that you still can't find something in your collection of molds, which we all know if you do this, you probably have a collection. So like the rest of us. So then the next step is just take this right here. Just lay this, your tape or whatever you're going to use on there, and just draw around the outside of it, okay? And then you can, this is kind of going to be the short version because it's kind of hard to upload all this stuff. So there, I've got that. Then you can take your whatever you decide you want to use. I used a card here, and you can go ahead and put that and draw your circle around that. There's napkins. You could use a napkin like that and do the same thing. And then here's some rice paper. I want to do a gingerbread one, and I'm going to use presents and stuff. So now you have that. But what you also, this is going to be your inside, okay? This flat back is going to be your inside, and this is going to be your outside. And I didn't even think about that. What I did is I just took a piece of like brown paper or foil, like, I'm just going to cut this. I work on paper all the time, so I'm just going to tear that off. You can do foil too, and I just stuck my fingers in there and just ran it around like so, and then I just kind of cut my shape from this. You could take a pencil, mark it, piece of foil, anything that you have, and you can make that shape. And then you want to cut out your back. Whatever you're going to use for your back, you want to cut out your back. Okay, you can see I use the same thing on the inside, same thing. And I just took and used that card is what I used. Now on this one here, I use the tape, washi tape, I think it's called. I never say it right. And it's this, and I got that from, I think I've showed this before. I got this off of Amazon, and it's the real wide stuff. And I'm making this one. I'll show you the box here in a minute. This is part of the lid that's not completely, I'm going to put a girl on top of little ballerina. So you can use that. Just use your imagination. Use whatever you have at home. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to either do your castings or I always have all my castings painted and ready to go. And you're just going to go ahead and glue those on. It's really easy. I should have got a toothpick. And I'm using Stick Fast. I like Stick Fast because you don't have to babysit it, and especially whenever you're doing a live. It makes it real easy, but it does stick so quickly that once you put it down, you want to make sure that you have it exactly where you want it to go. And then I'll usually, because this is so narrow, I'll usually take a toothpick and just run it around there so I don't get gobs and gobs of it. And see what I said about it sticking to your hands. So I'm going to glue this to the inside like so, and I can already feel I got it stuck to my fingers. I don't know whenever you go live why this is so difficult, but yet when you're doing it by yourself, it's so easy. But just, I bring that right out to the edge, okay? Right at the edge of my tape. And the trimming that I used on this one is this particular mold right here, okay? I've showed this a ton of times too. Came from Michaels, so that's the one I used on this one. This is from Hobby Lobby. This is a Wilton mold, and that's the trim that I used on the inside and outside of that. Okay, then I have my outside trim done. So I can go ahead. I have little pieces here. And if you've never worked with FormFlex just cuts so easy. It's no big deal to cut it. You can cut it with an X-Acto knife. And so I'll put this, I got to trim down. And let me see if I can hold it so that you can see it. And I'll trim it down. Now, what I did with my tape, this one I sprayed silver on the inside. I think I like the silver. I think silver or gold on the inside gives the reflection better. But this one I didn't. And I did put a Mod Podge on it. And I painted them with chalk paint, okay? And it doesn't really seem to make a difference whether you use the Mod Podge or not. You can just do the chalk paint if you want. It just depends on if you want it a little more waterproof, what you're putting on it. So now I would take this, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to glue this, my trimming, around the outside. Okay, and like I said, if you use the Stick Fast, it doesn't take a whole lot. But what I'm trying to show you is that you want to glue all of this on prior to putting your snow in there. And I'm just going to try and kind of match that up. You just got to make sure if you're going to use Stick Fast that, like I said, you get it down where you want it and don't move it. Okay. And if you've got the Mod Podge on it, it doesn't grab as quickly as if you have just the chalk paint. Okay. So there's that. I'm only going to just hold that for a second. Oh, I know what I forgot to show you. Same thing. Oh, yeah, we did. I did do the back. Yeah. And I showed you how to do the other piece on it. So you want to be sure that you do that and just hold this for a second. And the other thing is when you get down here to the end, like, you don't have to go all the way. Like, I'm going to still have to cut pieces. Man, I am really holding this crooked. This is sliding with that Mod Podge on it, but that's okay. Okay, so you don't really have to go all the way to the bottom because you're going to have your Jenga block right here. So what I would do is I would kind of mark it with a pencil, okay? Like this, I would put it on there, get it right where I wanted it, where I want my front and my back. Okay, can you see that? And then I would just kind of mark this right here. I want that over right to the edge. You want that right on your edge, okay? So you would do it like this, okay? So you got it right up against the edge there, and you can see I'm just a hair off here. Yeah, so like that. Okay, so we've got that there, like so. And you can mark this where you want it, where you're not going to have to go to your trim, okay? So your trim only has to come from there to there. I centered mine because I don't want, like, I don't want to have to add a piece where you could see it. This way you won't see it from the underneath. So you just know that you have to, you could stop your trim about right there and about the same, let's see, you can stop it right here. And I did the same thing with the other trim too, okay? That's how easy it is. So you'd want it to stop somewhere around in there. I'm just gonna need a little piece, okay? So I've got that marked, and just go ahead and you would take a piece of this and just stick that in there, line that up. You got to cut on this particular trim, you do have to cut off a bead to line it up. Yeah, that's just a tiny amount there, and same on this. But you also want to take and put your back on, you want to put your other piece of trim. And the reason, like I said, I'm doing this is because I want to put the snow on next, okay? You guys, this is such an easy project. I mean, if you have any kind of trim mold, anything, you can do this super easy. Super, super easy. Fun project to do with your grandkids. I'm kind of excited to, I'm doing a lot of gingerbread. And I'm excited to do a gingerbread one. But get all your pieces made, all your castings and that, and just sit down and have fun with them. And just kind of put them together. Now I want to kind of keep this so that I keep it in the same as the other side. I'm going to start it and stop it at the same point. And like I said, you can reflection, the gold inside and the silver inside would be the way that, if you really want the reflection in there, would be good. I may not. This is the first one that I really put Mod Podge on, and I may not do that because, boy, this really makes it slide slippery. The other one I just did with chalk paint, and I didn't even worry about putting anything on it. And that slides with that glue. But there you go. And you can see how easy these castings have been made for a while, and Formflex just will not, it retains its flexibility. So just hold it for a minute. Make sure you keep it right there on the edge. Okay, and then like on this one here, I used another trim molding to go down the center. This is a little bit wider, and so I want to use this, even though I know that it's going to cover part of it. I think this is what I want to use, and just kind of put, I want some greenery in there, because my thought is with the nutcrackers, I may put this on there. I cut this off the bottom, okay? These are just those pencil trees. And then I took a spool like that, and I covered it with baker's, no, this one here, I just used a small piece of ribbon, okay? But you can do that. You can cover it with baker's twine. Depending, you could go very Victorian with this. Maybe you have something else that you want to use. The other thing, like this piece isn't done, but I thought these are all pieces that I cut from cookie cutters. I needed really tiny gingerbreads, but I thought you could do something like this and put it on a Jenga block and make your top. You could use a knob on it. There's just so many different things that you could do with this. You could take it wherever you want. You could use a cork if you're into something like that. You could put a tree in there. Either way, just make it your own. I'm just here to give you the idea, okay? So then the next thing you want to do is you want to take, and what I would do next is I would take and do, I won't be able to glue my this stuff on here because I will want this to dry. But just go ahead, and I'm going to use this, what is it called? Bonding. I can't even think of the name of it, the glue stuff. And I'm going to use that. So you could use anything. You could use Mod Podge. You could use Heavy Body Gel. That's what this is. I've used it so much that I lost the name from getting it wet. And I'm just going to put that in there and do it that way because this one dries clear. So whatever you have at home that works for you, you could use that. I don't even know what I used on the other one. I don't even think I used the Heavy Body Gel on that one. I think I ended up just using some Titebond is all I did. But I want that right up, and I don't really care that it goes over. The hardest thing is, I don't know about you guys, but I've had a hard time finding snow this year. And this snow that I have is left from last year. And it's much nicer than the snow that I ended up having to get from Walmart. So if you have some, or if you find some good snow, I believe the one that I was using is just from the dollar store. But you'd go all the way around. I'm only doing part of it because of us doing this video. See, this is, yeah, make sure your hands are clean. This is just a bag, and you want to do the exact same thing on the inside. Okay, so I'll finish this off camera when I'm done. Let this dry. Okay, so I just want to put that on there, and I think I might, no, probably not in here, but on the inside, when I do it on the inside, I'm going to put a little bit of sparkle in with it too. On this particular one, you can see where I took it all the way because I wanted these little balls to look like snowballs, and I did that, okay? And you're going to do that to the inside as well, all right? So you've got your inside, your outside, then you can put your trim on once that dries. If you want, you could use holly, you could do anything you want. Then the next step, let's see here. I'm here by myself and I am not a video person. So I'm trying to make sure I stay in the camera as well. And if I don't, you guys don't send me nasty messages. I do the best I can. I get that I get out of frame and I mark my paper. I do everything, but I'm still not a good video person. Okay, so we got that. Then the next thing we're going to do is you want to glue your Jenga block on, and then you're just going to go ahead and take this to the outside, and you'll see, oh, see, I just stuck my finger in that. Let everything dry. Don't like try to hurry the process. Yeah, I just stuck my finger in that snow. And I was going to do some of this. The problem is if I try and do it before I do a video, then I end up not having enough to show you the process. So that's why I didn't glue a lot of it together or start so that I could show you the whole process. So I'm just adding a little bit of snow where I stuck my fingers in it. And I just kind of pounce it down. On the inside, like I said, I'll add glitter. So basically the next thing is just to go ahead and put a bead of glue around there, a bead of glue around here. You would have your trim all finished. You would have your like my leaves. I'm going to put leaves on mine, okay? And what it does is the Jenga block keeps this to be level. So you want to glue a Jenga block also here in just about the same place. And you can see that Jenga block just goes right on the very bottom, okay? Right there on the very bottom of the snow globe in order to get that effect. And I did show, I just mixed to get the glitter to make it look like a snow globe. I hope that it shows up well on the camera. I'm just kind of guessing here. And they should pretty much, as long as you kind of center your Jenga block, they should be in the same place. You could wait and put it all together and then glue. I think the first one I did, maybe that's what I did. I glued the Jenga block on last. But the Jenga block is what helps it, you know, set up straight so that you can put it down and have it set like this, okay? So that's all there is to it. I mean, it's very simple, very easy. It's absolutely beautiful. It is so pretty and so dreamy. And by adding that light, these lights I got off of, so you would just take a piece, glue this, put your top on it, glue that, put that on there. But I want to finish the inside and everything before I do that. And this little light actually comes from Amazon. I've showed it before. And if you put that, you could put a hanger on them. You could set them on the shelf like so. I don't even know, like that. Okay. So that little light really does make it pop so that you can see the inside. You're looking down on it, so you really can't see the effect that you're getting from it. So you would have your tree up here if that's what you want to do. If you wanted some other ideas, you could, this is ribbon. I've showed how I made this. This is just rayon ribbon from Amazon, and I just get it and I get it wet, crinkle it up. But you could do something like this on the top, you know, if you wanted something a little more Victorian. Just use your imagination, you guys. I could think of so many of these, and what an inexpensive gift to give somebody for a housewarming, you know, for like a hostess gift or something like that. And you could put a hanger and put them on your tree. And you can see how pretty they are. What this is going with is, and oh yeah, the other thing is you could put like an angel on it too. I actually had bows done to go on the bottom of this one. And then I ended up using the bows yesterday on the box that matches this. And I showed this, I think, when I very first started it. But this is the box that will go with the nutcrackers. I've got the tape on there. There's my castings. There's some IOD molds. There's one of the ribbons that I used. And I used the tape on that, okay? And then the back is like this. Okay, hopefully you can see that. And there's, you know, where I used the other bow. And I left a pocket in here, and I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. So when you use Formflex, you can squeeze it and mold it the way you want it. Squeezing it is really good. You can get a 3D, you know, it gives you that pocket to put something in there. But I thought this would be really, really pretty to put a Christmas tree. I got a tree, and I'm probably either going to sell it or give it away or something. But this is the lid, okay? And because I didn't want this to be covered, this is a box that you put coffee cups in it and candles. I got a candle to go in it as well. But take it with you and go have coffee or hot chocolate with a friend. Spend an hour with them. Light your candle. Enjoy your time together. Leave it there, and then they do the same thing. But if you didn't want to do that, see, there it is with the lid. And I'll be putting something in there so that that lid can't go down. I put the trim on the top, but I'll embrace it on the bottom as well because the box will be full. But it's just a fun thing. And on the top, I think I already showed this. I'm going to do some greenery, and I have Oh, I guess you can't see it. Get it down lower. So I'm going to do some greenery, some red picks and stuff. And I'm going to put her on top of the box. And I have some a ballerina thing. This is going to go in a 3D, just a 3D frame. And I have some ballet slippers. And I'll just make like a whole little vignette that you could take, or I may put a tree in it. I've got a really cool tree that will go in here, a flock tree. And then you could set this on your table or whatever on a vignette, either or way. But it's really super pretty. You guys, this box right here was $1.25, okay? So you can get these really, and it's a paper mache box. So it's like a hat box, but I made it taller by extending that. This should drop down to about right there, but my castings were large enough that I didn't want it to drop down. So anyway, this little guy here, this is what's going to be a part of that whole vignette. And that's why I'm making this to go with that. And that's why I want to use the silver tree. I should have showed you this too. When I said, you could put an angel, you could put that on like the back side or something. I think the cherubs and that go really pretty with it. I did do some nutcrackers. You could put a nutcracker there, okay? Or whatever theme you have, you could put the nutcracker on the back. Oh, I just stuck my finger in it again. So you could do it that way too. So anyway, I hope that you guys find this really helpful. Have fun with it. It's super easy. It's not going to cost an arm and a leg to create these, as long as you have the mold or you have any type of frame mold. I think this I know is a redesign, and I think this comes with bees and stuff, but you could paint that up to look like Christmas. And you could use, you could cut your tape rolls if you just want thinner ones. If you don't have thin, these are from ribbon. Or if you don't have that, that's why I wanted to show that you could use old canning jar tops and put your design on the back of that if you just want thin ones and you want to hang them on your tree. So anyway, please, please, please share this out if you know anybody that might help. We are so grateful for all the people that support our small business, and also our page has really grown, and I couldn't be more thankful because I am not a very good video person. I have lots and lots of ideas if I just knew how to articulate all the technology anyway. So if you ever have any questions, please reach out to us. We do have a group page that's free to join. It's a private group, but it's free. You can go in there and share anything that you make and you used Formflex on, whatever. There's some amazing people in there, and we like to keep that where everybody can share or ask questions or whatever. So until the next time, I hope that you guys have a safe, good weekend, and go Ducks. And here, I'm going to put another small tree in there. I'll take that out like that and put that in there. But you could use cardboard stuff like I meant to bring them out to show you. I have some gingerbread ones. I think they're from Stamperia. So anything that you use for scrapbooking or something like that, if you have leftover and you don't do scrapbooking anymore, or just anything inside of there, just to give it that 3D look. And I think this little silver tree, because I'm going with silver inside of there to make it look 3D and bring it forward. But I really do think you need something down here at the bottom. Maybe not. I mean, that's kind of, I guess, up to you. So I hope this is useful. You guys have a wonderful weekend. And like I said, stay safe. Bye now.